Welcome student in grade 11th. You are going to learn a very new subject that is entrepreneurship. In your grade 9th and 10th, you have learned in your SST about factor of production, and one of the factor of production is entrepreneurship. The main five factor of production are land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and innovation. What is entrepreneurship? It is a risk-taking capacity of a person and earning profit thereby. As you can see on your textbook, there is the cover page, a ship. So a voyage, a journey on that ship where a person gives all his innovation and creativity to earn profit. A person who do all sorts of constructive work in a very unique manner earns a lot of money, earns a lot of profit due to his expertise and his experience is known as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is a freedom to a person to do what he likes and attain all the profits and risk. It is a passion all about commercial risk. Entrepreneur is a person who uses all his senses and that develop into his exposure and experience so that he can earn more amount of money and he can be a first mover in the market. Entrepreneur is a person who wants a complete freedom for doing the work of his own choice. According to the literary meaning, entrepreneur is a word that is derived from French word entreprendre, that means to undertake any responsibility of the work, entire work, if a person is having, that is termed as entrepreneur or to undertake any work. So a Frenchman, Richard Cantillon, he has derived this word entrepreneur as a person who takes up all the responsibility. Concept of entrepreneur. He is a person who is responsible for setting up of a business or an enterprise. He has the initiative, skill for innovation, and he looks for high achievements. Initiative, that means he is the one who is doing the work willingly on his own manner. He has a skill of innovation and he looks forward for high achievement. He is a catalytic agent of change and work for a good of people. Catalytic agent, that means who makes any work faster. So to bring good to the society, to bring good to the people, he will produce such products and commodities, also services. He puts up new greenfield projects that create wealth, open up many employment opportunities, and leads to the growth of other sector. That means the entrepreneur is not only selfish person that he is only thinking of himself. He thinks about people, he thinks about society as he generates employment and growth of other sectors. Entrepreneur is therefore a need for any country. Concept of entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur is a person who starts an enterprise and converts a situation into opportunity. Now we can take an example, anything that is required by people, but no one is coming up with that new thing. For example, the vaccination or the medicine, the cure for coronavirus. So people are working on it, people are making, researching medicines, and the person who brings in the medicine and develops it and bring a success and take it in a market as a product, he is the person who converts the situation into opportunity, and so he is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur searches for a change and responds to it. The day-to-day activities or a stereotype activities he is not happy with. He wants certain change. He wants to bring the change, and then he'll bring response to it. The economists view him or her as a fourth factor of production along with land, labor, and capital. And the fifth factor that we all know is innovation. So, entrepreneurship is the fourth factor of production. Now, entrepreneur, as you can see, is a person who develops and owns his own enterprise. He is responsible for his own enterprise. He is the boss of his own enterprise and he himself develops his own enterprise. Is a moderate risk taker and works under uncertainty of achieving the goal. He is a risk taker, of course, but he has always an uncertainty that whether what goals he has set up or what things that he has decided is always successful or not. He's a person who is innovative. Innovative, that means he brings in new methods and new techniques to do the work in a very unique manner. He is a persuader of deviant pursuit. Deviant pursuit, that means he has a peculiarity in himself, he has a certain different aspects, and he has a drive that make him different from others. The deviant pursuit, that means he wants to do the work that nobody has done till date. So he has that type of attribute. He reflects a strong urge to be independent. Yes, of course, the entrepreneur will never like to work under any person. So he has a strong urge to be independent and he works independently. He persistently tries to do something better, yes, as he wants a uniqueness, a peculiarity. He also urges for doing things in a very perfect manner or better manner. He tends to persist in a phase of adversity. That means he has that capacity, he has that quality that in the times of adversity, in the times of uncertainty, he can hold up, he can remain intact. An entrepreneur is a person who is dissatisfied with routine activities. That means he wants to do something new. Is prepared to withstand the hard life. That means he wants to face the harshness of the life. He is determined about his goals, but he is patient at the same time. He exhibits a sense of leadership. Exhibits, that means he is always ready to be a leader and he can lead the activity or a process. He exhibits a sense of competitiveness. That means he has a quality to compete and to do the work in a very competitive manner. He takes personal responsibility. As we have seen the French word that he undertakes, he takes up the entire responsibility. He is oriented towards future. That means he wants to do the work in a very good manner and in a futuristic approach. Definition of an entrepreneur. According to Adam Smith, the name you might have heard in your economics as well. Adam Smith is a father of economics and all business theories. An individual who undertakes the formation of an organization for commercial purpose. Commercial purpose means to earn profit. By recognizing the potential demand for goods, that means he will first of all recognize that what is the demand, what are the tastes and preferences of people, demand for goods and services, and thereby acts as an economic agent and transform demand into supply. So that means he works as an economic agent, and what people wants, he transforms that demand into supply. Entrepreneur, enterprise, and entrepreneurship. Now, the word enterprise is the business that is undertaken by an entrepreneur. So, enterprise is the result, is the outcome of an entrepreneur as a person, and entrepreneurship is the process. So, once we bifurcate or once we differentiate these three words, enterprise, entrepreneur, and entrepreneurship, that means the combination of a person and a process is the outcome as enterprise. Now you can see, you have seen this person in not only Instagram meme, but also he is the one, he has developed his own enterprise, and he is responsible of such a big enterprise, that is MDH Masale. And he is at the age of 97, he is the biggest CEO in the world, and his enterprise is worth 1200 crore rupees. Next topic that we are going to learn is need for entrepreneurship. Why? For any society or any country, the entrepreneurship is required. Every nation needs entrepreneurship for the economic development. In capitalistic countries, entrepreneurship plays a vital role, but in an underdeveloped countries, the importance of entrepreneurship is low. In developing countries, there is equal importance to government and private entrepreneurs. Economic growth depends on the rate of innovation in economic field. Creative entrepreneurs are agents of progress in the society. The need of innovative entrepreneurs is an unavoidable in a progressing country like India. The entrepreneurs are not only responsible for the growth and development of their own enterprise, but also they are indirectly helping the country by providing innovation, by providing the goods and services that are need for the day, and also providing employment to people. It is a lifeline of a nation. If one country wants to become a developed nation, there must be more importance for the development of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a yardstick to measure the level of development of a country. Yardstick, that means a measurable, a measuring unit or a parameter through which the development of any country is measured. It provides innovation. An entrepreneur is an innovator. As we have already discussed, innovation is doing things in a better way, in a new manner, who brings new ideas, products, technology, and market. Only through the innovative ideas a nation can become a developed one. When we call any country innovative, when we can see something new, why only we call Japan as a developed country? Because we see in every product there is one or other innovation. We can see robotics over there. So it provides innovation, and that innovation gives a recognition to a nation as a developed one. Change of growth or inclusive growth. An enterprise who works in a dynamic environment in order to meet the challenges of automation and advanced technology. There must be more importance for development of entrepreneurship. That means new technology or new challenges can be reached out in a country only if there is a good entrepreneurship. It increases the profit. Profits can be increased in any enterprise either by increasing the sales revenue or reducing cost. Entrepreneurship, by reducing cost, increases its profits and provides opportunity for future growth and development. Now, when an entrepreneur himself earns profit, he is not only the one who is benefited, he gives benefits to the country indirectly and will ensure the future growth and development. Of course, an entrepreneur provides employment opportunities. Entrepreneurship is an activity that provides maximum employment and growth to any country. Growth of enterprises in a manner brings lots of employment opportunities in a country. If there are more number of enterprises, that means small business or medium or a big business, there will be more employment opportunities and it brings in more national income and development. Social benefit. Origin of enterprises raises the standard of living by providing good quality products and services at a lowest possible cost. It also makes the optimum use of scarce resources and promotes peace and prosperity in the country. Next is the topic that we are going to see is function of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a very important person and resource for any country. Entrepreneur performs a series of functions necessary right from the genesis of an idea up to the establishment of an effective operation of an enterprise. That means to bring out best out of the business, he does a lot many activities. He carries out the whole set of activities of business for its success. He recognizes the commercial potential of a product or a service, formulates operating policies for production, product design, marketing, and organizational structure. He is thus a nucleus of high growth of enterprise. That means the entire business activities depends on a single person who is entrepreneur. Now there are various categories, mainly four broad categories that an entrepreneur functions are divided into: entrepreneurial function, promotional function, managerial function, and commercial function. First, we'll have a look on entrepreneurial functions. As an entrepreneur, he or she performs the following activity. First and very important thing is innovation. That means he brings in new ideas, new methods of doing things in a unique manner. Next is risk taking. That means he is not certain whether what work he is doing will bring him a success or not. Organization building. That means he build up his own enterprise, his own business, right from the procurement of resources till profit earning. An entrepreneur is considered as innovator. He has to bring new products in a market, maybe same product in a new market. He has to bring new source of raw material to reduce cost. He forces potentially profitable opportunities and then he tries to explore it. He is a risk taker because he takes the responsibility of maybe future losses. It is not always that he will going to earn profit. A good entrepreneur reduces the risk in his business. That means he works in such a manner that the chances of losses are minimum. He is a self-confident and highly optimistic person and he will to assume the risk involved in his enterprise. He is always a risk taker. Organization building, that means he not only starts, build, but he organizes the entire business uh, enterprise or his business house. Organization and management are the main functions of an entrepreneur. That means he not only brings in or starts, but he manages throughout the lifespan of a business. He brings together the various factors of production. It helps to allocate the productive resources in order to minimize losses and reduce cost in the production. He takes the entire decisions like expansion of business, amount of capital, etc. of his business. Thus, he is the final judge of his business. That means he takes up all the activities right from the beginning till the end and he maintains them in a very supreme level at a very capable manner. Promotional functions, that means when an entrepreneur starts up any business, he needs to promote his business, his products or services in a market. So, first of all, he has to discover an idea, that means investigation or discovering of an idea, then detailed investigation that whatever he wants to sell to the market, whether it is a product or a service, is feasible or not. Then assembling the requirements. Once he has done all the investigation, once he has done all the planning that what all things are required, are then procured and assembled. Then the measurements related to money, that means financial financing and the proposing, is to be taken into consideration. For example, a person has a very great idea about something new in the market. Any product or service that is not yet in the market is brought in by that person, and he has done a detailed information about what all are the raw materials or technology required. And now the final task is to finance the project. That means to convince the investors that this project will be a success. So that is one of the promotional function of an entrepreneur. Ideas. Now, what is discovery of an idea? There are lots of opportunities or ideas available in our world to set up an enterprise. You can take an example every now and then, new technologies are coming, and depending on the environment, the situations that are happening in the world, new innovation and technologies are every day emerging up. But it is the ability of a good entrepreneur to discover a suitable idea that helps to develop profitable ventures. He or she has to develop the discovered idea with the support of experts in the field. That means merely giving an idea, this can be done in that manner. For example, we can have an idea about 3D printer, but then we can have an idea that in the 3D printer we can print any edible item. So that is an idea, but what about getting its feasibility test done? That means whether it is practically possible or not. That can only be done when we have support of experts. Detailed investigation, again, whatever idea strikes in his mind, that is to be studied detailed, and the investigation is to be done about the analysis of its demand in the market. Once the analysis has been done, thereafter he can bring in the analysis of the availability of resources which are used to produce that particular product or service. That is availability of finance, power, labor, raw material, and machinery. Assembling the requirements. Now he has done the detailed investigation. Now it is time to procure the resources which are useful for starting up the production. After making sure that the idea is practical and profitable one, he will acquire some patent rights. That means he is the one who has right to produce. So he'll get it patent done. That means He is reserving his rights that that person is only has a right to produce that type of commodity. If he has invented something, he has to get the patent rights done. Then the entrepreneur selects the factory sites, decide about the plant and machinery, contacts the supplier of raw materials. So once that patent rights are issued, he can go for further activities, and then he can sign in preliminary contracts and finalize the projects, and then he can start his project. Now, to start the project, huge amount of capital is required. So he is the one who first of all estimate the requirement, then he analyze about the sources of the capital that is required, and then he is raising the funds. The funds are further categorized into maybe a long term and a short term financial requirements. So, depending on the financial requirements, he will decide the source of funds, whether he should get it done by issuing shares, debentures, or he can take up loans from various financial institutions like banks or other finance companies. Next comes managerial functions of an entrepreneur. His managerial functions includes planning, that means he'll plan out all entire venture, organizing after planning, he'll actuate by bringing in all the things and resources which are required, staffing, that means he'll recruit people, the right person at a right manner, directing, that means he will direct or he will suggest the people that work should be done in what manner. Communication, that means he'll communicate his ideas to the ideas of other people. A better communication is the one that what is the thought process of that person, that is conveyed to the other person in a very exact similar manner, and their thought process is also changed accordingly. Motivating and supervision, that means once he become a leader, a director, these functions are self explanatory that he has to motivate and supervise his people. Coordination, work, people, and materials have a good coordination to bring any venture a successful venture. Controlling, that means now whatever the manager, whatever the person, the owner, and entrepreneur, what he has planned, the works are being done in that same plan manner or not. To ensure these activities are going according to the planned activities or not, this is the function called controlling. Controlling can also be taken in another manner, that there is minimum wastage of resources and time. So it is a very important function of an entrepreneur to control the activities as per the set standards or planned activities, and to control the wastage of resources. Next is planning. Now we will see all the managerial function of an entrepreneur in a detailed manner. Planning is the basic and foremost managerial function of an entrepreneur. It helps determining the course of action to be followed to achieve various entrepreneurial objectives. It is decision making in advance, what to do, when to do, how to do, and who will do a particular task. That means an entrepreneur will have a blueprint in his mind about how the activities are going to execute it. Next is organizing. That means he'll bring in all the things that are required. The function of organizing is to arrange, guide, coordinate, direct, and control the activities or the factor of production. Staffing, again, it is a function that includes human resource of an enterprise. It consists of manpower planning, recruitment, selection, placement, human resource development, promotion, transfer, appraisals, and determination of employees' remuneration. Directing. It is concerned with carrying out the desired plans with support of proper instructions. That means the orders that are given to the employees and to make sure whether the orders are properly executed. It ensures effective performance of planned activities by the subordinates. Leadership is a process of inspiring or influencing the workers by satisfying their needs for the fulfillment of organizational objectives. When the people are happy, they will work in a very efficient manner. Communication, it refers to the exchange of ideas, feelings, emotions, knowledge, and information between two or more people. For effective running and accomplishment of organizational goals, proper communication at all levels is a necessary one. Motivation. The performance of an employee depends on the monetary and non-monetary benefit got from the organization. A sound motivational system must be productive, competitive, comprehensive, and flexible. And it must consider psychological, social, safety, ego, and economic needs for the worker. So, should be motivated by his satisfying all his needs. Supervision, that is, to see whether the job or the work that are done according to the manner that are decided in advance or not. Supervision refers to the job of overseeing subordinate at a work. It ensures maximum utilization of resources to the proper and timely completion of work and to correct the workers whenever they go wrong. Coordination. It is the channelization of activities of all individuals in the organization for the achievement of common goals. That means everybody in an organization, along with the entrepreneur himself, should do the work in a very synchronized manner. The entrepreneur must check the work of different segments based on the predetermined objectives and make correction if any deviations occurs. That means if any changes occurs, he is responsible to make the corrections. Next is controlling. Controlling is a process that begins with establishing standard of performance, measuring actual performance, comparing actual with standard performance, finding variations and taking corrective actions. That means what an entrepreneur had already planned for, the entrepreneur will cross check whether all the activities are done in the manner which is being planned or not. If there are variations or any deviations that are to be corrected by taking measures. Next, important functions of an entrepreneur are commercial functions: production, finance, marketing, personnel, and accounting. We'll see them one by one. Production, as you all know, that is the key function of an entrepreneur. It is the creation of goods and services. It consists of manufacturing, ancillary and advisory activities. In a small organization, it will be undertaken by an individual, but in a large, it may be undertaken by various individuals or a separate team. If the manufacturing unit is there, there are various departments according to the processes. The next important function is finance. As we all know that without capital or money, not a single activity can be undertaken. So money is considered as a lifeblood of every business organization. The need for money is continuous. It starts with the setting up of organization and remains at all time. It is the duty of an entrepreneur to find out various sources of finance and appropriately arrange them as and when required. So finance is also one of important function. Now from where does this finance come from? When the business works in a very efficient manner or from various sources of funds in the beginning. But next important thing that a entrepreneur should undertake to make the business successful is marketing. It involves the process of movement of goods and services from the producer to the consumer. It plays a significant role in promoting the successful running of business enterprise. That means he has to market the product and make the consumer aware about the peculiarity and goodness of his product or service. Next important function of an entrepreneur is personnel. Personnel that means related to human resource. This function is concerned with employment, development, compensation for the personnel, the provision of working conditions and welfare measures to maintain a good workforce in organization. If people who are working in an enterprise, if they are good and they are well maintained, that will give a successful business. Next important function, commercial function of an entrepreneur is accounting. It is the process of systematic recording of entrepreneurial transaction of an enterprise, and the financial position of the enterprise is revealed at the end of a particular period by a proper accounting. The entrepreneur should look thoroughly the record keeping of transaction and should aware about the financial position of the firm. So these were the commercial. Next, we are going to see is advantage and disadvantages of entrepreneurship. To everything in life, there are advantages and disadvantages. Entrepreneurship is no exception. As a matter of fact, entrepreneurship involves a lot of risk taking, yet it can pay off very well. With rewards such as profits, the opportunity to be your own boss and make your own decisions. As we can say, there is pros and cons of everything. Being one's own boss to earning maximum profit, there are lot many advantages, but there are disadvantages at the same time. Advantages. Very first and foremost and very important advantage of entrepreneurship is excitement. Due to any person's high capacity of risk, there is a lot of adventure. It develops excitement in entrepreneurs. It also develops positive attitude to face challenges. Innovative entrepreneurs tries to bring maximum quality and natural products. That is the originality. Only a creative entrepreneur can offer a new service or product that no one else has offered before. So he has originality. Advantage is independence. Some wish to be their own boss and make all the important decisions themselves. Entrepreneurship provides opportunity to think and act independently. This is the best earning activity for a person who don't likes to listen to someone or a person who wants to become his or her own boss. Rational salary. When they are not paid off according to their caliber, they think that they should do the work of their own. They are not being paid for what they are doing, but they earn money for their efforts through profit. If they work hard, their earnings will be higher. So there is a direct relationship between efforts and rewards. Meeting the variable cost. Starting your own business means that you must be willing to give the security of a regular payment of cash for necessity. That means whatever cost an entrepreneur has incurred that can be earned out of profits that he has earned. Disadvantage, there will fewer benefits, especially when the business is just starting at the initial stage of the business, there will be less benefits. That means if the starting of enterprise is not in a not good way, it will give a negative result. Work schedule. Sometimes an entrepreneur has to work 24/7. The work schedule of an entrepreneur is never predictable. An emergency can come up in a matter of a second. The day-to-day activities of an entrepreneur changes from time to time. That means if the entrepreneur has more commitments to give the supply or if has more turnover, then the working hours may be increased. Administration. So all the decisions of the business that are made by entrepreneur himself. In such a business, there is a chance of for a wrong decision. Sometimes that this when an entrepreneur is involved in something else or he is multitasking, he may take any wrong decision and that may lead to loss. Incompetent staff. Now, the staff or the employees that are working for an entrepreneur, they don't have the feeling of ownness. So, due to that attitude or shortage of experience, it will bring the wastage of raw material and maybe decrease in productivity. Next and the last topic of this chapter that we are going to study is the process of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, as we know, is a process and it should be pursued in a stepwise manner. Entrepreneur is a creative person. He has to do lots of different activities for carrying out his business. Following are the different steps in the creation of an enterprise. First and very important thing is self-discovery. He should find out the new ideas that he can do and the things which no one else has done till date. Analyze his strengths and weaknesses. Also analyze the potential opportunities in the market. Identifying opportunities. Search for unsatisfied needs and wants, problems and challenges of the society. It will give new opportunity for starting a new enterprise. That means an entrepreneur should find out new opportunities of doing the business, generating and evaluating ideas. He should use creativity and past experience to devise new and innovative ways to satisfy the needs, wants, problems, and challenges of a society. That means he needs to generate and evaluate ideas. Planning. He needs to do certain research activity. He has to identify resources and to make the idea successful. Plan all the activities for making the idea into a good venture. That means what all things that he has thought of should make a good venture or a profitable business. Raising up startup capital. The startup capital is the amount that is used for a business to start, to give a launch pad to a business. Using the business plan, entrepreneur has to collect the necessary amount of funds to start the business. He may show his project report to various investors, to financial institutes, or to banks to raise up the capital. Once the amount of money or the capital is collected, he can start his business. So next step is startup. Starting the production activities or collection of goods and services, distribution of goods and services to the needy people, creation of a good collection of regular customers. Growth. Once the business After getting adjusted or in a routine manner, the next step is growth. To develop the business with the new strategic plans. If entrepreneur is dealing in certain types of products, he may add on certain varieties or he may enlarge the market. So these are the developments and change in the technology. That means he can upgrade the techniques or methods in which he is doing the work or pursuing the activities. Harvest. As we all know, the meaning of harvest is whatever is grown on the crops to reap. So same way, marketing the products and harvesting the rewards. That means a businessman or entrepreneur should get the result of what all activities he has done and should earn the profit out of it. That's all for the chapter 1 entrepreneurship introduction. Thanks for watching. Next, we are going to learn our myths of entrepreneurship. Myths are the things which are simply the mindset or false beliefs about entrepreneurship that we are going to see. By myths of entrepreneurship, we mean that the beliefs about the creation and running of enterprises in our country. The most common are as follows. Starting an entrepreneurship is easy in our society, but running for a town is difficult. That means people who are really a risk taker can do the activity in a successful manner. Next myth is a lot of money is needed in form of capital to run a new business. That means it is not every time a lot of amount is needed. Sometimes some small business can also be taken into consideration and they can also run successfully. Next is a lot of entrepreneurs use debt rather than equity to fund their enterprise. That means it is not always the entrepreneurs are under debt. Only in certain cases, bank lends money to startups. It is not so. This myth is totally false. If the startups are really very interesting and futuristic, bank will lend money in a very smooth manner. Next myth is most entrepreneurs start business in attractive industry. Industries are not always a high giver. Sometimes there is a competitive industry as well. The growth of startup depends more on an entrepreneur's talent and not on the business he chooses. This is also one of the false beliefs. The growth or the success can be decided on the basis of his industry, competition, and yes, more or less the talent and capacity also plays an important role. Most creative product producing enterprises are successful financially. It is not every time that a creativity pays back. Sometimes being over creative or overdoing some things may lead to a loss making venture.